Peace. This is Rakeem Allah with Wise the Dome TV. And today I have my guest. He's an author, a thought provoker, personal trainer, the God Universal Adam. I appreciate you for coming on, G.
Yes, sir. Peace. I appreciate you having me, God.
No doubt, God, no doubt. So I asked everybody this. What led you on your path to self-discovery and knowledge yourself? Like what got you on that journey?
And honestly, it goes deep for me, G. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was in high school, that's when I just kind of lost the knowledge of myself. That was when
Mm,
I was like a savage in pursuit of happiness. I
mm-hmm,
started hanging around the wrong crowds, man, and I was just motivated by a lot of the nonsense that was out
mm,
here. I was definitely 85. So what happened was, when I graduated, like my senior year, I was going into college,
mm,
and I just felt like I was behind mentally. I
mm,
was like, man, I don't feel like I'm where I need to be on a mental level. So with that being said, I was going to a school, like an all white school, predominantly white college, to play
mm.
football.
Okay.
So I was like, look, I ain't about to go around these white folks feeling behind mentally because I
Mm,
already know how they view us.
right.
So I was like, all right, I'm gonna take it upon myself to do the knowledge, start doing some research before I go to the college.
Mm,
So I started going to the local bookstore. It was Barnes and Noble at the time. That was right around the corner from my people's crib. So
okay.
I went to the Barnes and Noble and I started buying books. So I started buying books that resonated with me. So of course I was in the African American section, which was the smallest section
Right.
in
Still
the
is.
store. Yeah, you know how they do us.
Hmm.
So at that time too, I was listening to a lot of different hip hop music.
Mm,
And let me go back, let me rewind. I
mm,
was brought up like on West Coast music and things of that nature.
mm,
Right around 18, I started listening to more East Coast. So
mm,
I was listening to like a lot of AZ, Brand Nubian, Poor Righteous Teachers. And they
mm,
was talking about some things that I hadn't heard at
mm,
that particular point in time.
mm,
So lo and behold, I'm in the Barnes and Noble one day, few books that came to my eye. It was the autobiography of Malcolm X,
mm,
cop that. Then I
mm.
saw a book that said 5%ers. I think what's the brother name? Or not the brother name, what's his name? Michael Knight?
Michael Muhammad Knight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that book was in the that book was in Barnes and Noble. So I saw it and it said
Mm,
5%ers. And I remember the lyric from Life's a Bitch by Nas and AZ. So
mm,
I remember AZ mentioning it. So I was like, you know what? Let me grab this book. So I
right.
grabbed both of those books and I did the knowledge to both of those books. And then it was a wrap from there.
Right. Right. That's a powerful sentiment that like even and that's because the show also has I have a lot of people that are in the hip hop spaces and ciphers, and like that's just goes to show the power of music and the things that it can open you up to. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like
sir.
it kind of exposes you to certain thoughts and ways of thinking that you might not have been exposed to before. That's why I think it's powerful that it's important that we start to get that balance back in the mainstream. And so yeah, that's deep, God. And so I was going to ask you, that was going to be my next question, like as far as some of the books that you read that actually had that impact on you. You said Malcolm X. That was, hey, same for me. You know what I'm saying? When I read that, that's a life changer right there. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like whenever you read that book, like what was like whenever you was done, like what was going through your mind, God?
Man, honestly, I felt myself in that book because he started off as Detroit Red. That's how I
Yeah,
was feeling. I was
yeah.
like, man, I was out here savage.
Right,
So
right.
that's really what led to my transformation because I was like, man, because I think what it was in the book, they said he like memorized a dictionary or something
Yeah.
like that
Mm-hmm.
when he was locked up. So I
Mm-hmm.
was like, dang, if he can do this, then I can transform. So
Right.
man, I just saw myself in that story, and then that's what led to me. That's what led me to the message to the Black Man by Elijah
Mm.
Muhammad and
Right.
How to Eat to Live. So
Right.
when I read about Malcolm X, that's what led me to Elijah Muhammad books.
Right.
And when I started reading the Elijah Muhammad books, it was really over.
Right. Right. Most
It was
definitely. And
really over.
that's a thing too, because a lot of people don't like they'll stop at the autobiography of Malcolm X. But if you
Mm-hmm.
keep going, you know what I'm saying, you got to have a whole new worldview. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't lying. And that's when I became the black sheep officially of the fam. When I
Right.
started reading Elijah Muhammad, everybody thought I was going crazy. Because
So
I started spitting back what I was reading. And they was like, hold on, what you talking about? Because of course I come from that Baptist background.
oh yeah, oh
So
yeah,
so you know how that go for the fam, man.
oh yeah,
Everybody was
most
looking at
definitely.
me like, whoa, what you doing? What is you on?
Right, right. Whenever you started, getting knowledge yourself and was interested in, studying more, like were any of your partners or people around you, kind of start doing the same thing, or did it take a while for people to kind of bear witness like the changes that you were going through?
You know what's crazy about that guy? The people that I was hanging around in high school, like I kind of had to distance myself from some of them initially. But what happened was I came into like a whole new circle of partners at that particular point in time, and they was inspired by what was inspiring me. So we actually came into the culture at the same exact time. My enlightener, actually, it was 3 of us at the same exact time, and the 2 brothers, they actually was behind me. So it was like 3 of us. We was coming in. No, it was 4. 4 of us came into the knowledge of self at the same exact time. I know my enlightener was loving that because we all came at the same time, but I was the first one. So I was the first one getting that knowledge, and I was putting them brothers on. And they was like, man, what you reading and who you talking to, this, that, and the third, because I was the one reaching out. I got on Facebook and I was like, hey, do we got any 5%ers here in where I'm at, St. Louis?
Right.
And I got a brother, he was from New York, I believe. I'm still friends with him to this day. And he pointed me in the direction of my enlightener. So I was the first one to like find them here amongst the young people, the young guys. Right. And from that point on, man, I just had that new circle of friends, that new cycle of partners.
Wow, man, that's important too. Like whenever you are like getting knowledge yourself, to have people around you that are dealing in the same thing, because that's how you keep each other motivated, you keep each other sharp. And if it's easy to kind of fall off on things whenever you feel like you're doing everything by yourself, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you start to let doubt get in your head, and just kind of fall off with it. So how is the cipher out there in St. Louis, Saudi?
Yeah, Saudi, man, it's pretty peace, man. Like I said, I met a lot of wonderful guys and earths out here, man. So it's a pretty peace cipher for the most part. Small, of course, obviously. So a lot of us now, we just basically doing our own things. We really need to come back together and start building a lot more on an honest note. Right. We don't build as much as we actually should. A lot of, some little things happen that cause a little disconnect. So I feel like we just need to come back. But see, that's on me though. That's on us. That's on us. So I got the power to do that because now I got like a facility and all of that to where I could bring people together. So it's really kind of on me at this point, at least amongst, the younger guys. So that's something that I feel like I'm gonna probably start doing here in the future. Just go ahead and rally us back up because we was on the road for a minute.
Yeah, I used to see reflections of y'all, and it was, beautiful pictures, God, and everybody was building, and the babies and the sisters was coming out, and the brothers, and you know what I'm saying? It was just real peace, God.
Yeah, most definitely. Everybody here is peace, but we just got to come back together. We was doing our own things. You know how I go, life getting away.
Life, man. It's life, you know what I'm saying? I already know. Yeah. So whenever you started getting knowledge yourself, all right, so and you said you read Message to the Black Man, then you read Eat to Live. Is that what started you on, the living healthy way of life, reading Eat to Live?
Yeah, God. It was 3 things. It was How to Eat to Live. I watched the Slaughterhouse video on YouTube. Shouldn't have did that. And Dead Prez, Be Healthy, that track right there.
Yeah.
Those 3 things changed my life. I think I dropped pork the moment I read How to Eat to Live. Wow. And I think I went vegetarian the moment I really actually started listening to like Dead Prez like that.
Right.
Yeah, and so when I dropped the pork, you know how that went. Everybody thought I went Muslim.
Yeah, that's the first thing they think, huh?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's funny because even the Bible tells you not to eat pork, but
that's what I used to tell them. You already know.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So okay, so now moving forward to you, like moving forward to like what you're doing now as far as in the health and fitness spheres and everything. Being a vegan, is it important to supplement, right? And as far as vitamins and things that you may be lacking or not getting from your diet, and if it is, like, what is the best way to kind of find out like what it is you actually need to supplement?
Yes, sir. That's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that question because I can clear up a lot of myths.
Okay.
To be honest, there is only really one vitamin that you actually have to supplement, and this goes for vegans, pescatarians, meat eaters, whatever you call yourself, depending on the climate in which you reside, and that's vitamin D. Vitamin D is the only vitamin that may be impossible to get via what you eat. Now, they do put vitamin D in like fortified milks and things of that nature. That stuff may not be the healthiest.
Right.
So if you're truly trying to naturally get the vitamin D, if you in a colder climate like where I'm at now, it's hard to get that natural sunlight to activate it. A lot of people say vitamin D is a hormone, however you view it.
Right.
But sunlight is what activates it. So it's hard to get that sunlight if you're in a cold climate.
Right.
The only other vitamin that you may have to consider supplementing if you vegan is B12, but you can get B12 from nutritional yeast. Other than that, you good. You can get everything via what you eat easily by going vegan. So B12 and vitamin D, the only things I probably recommend supplement.
Okay, so that's thank you for clearing that up, because I see a lot of, you know, I'm not sure if it's people trying to make a buck or you know, but you see a lot of things that come out that say, hey man, you know, you're more than likely lacking this, you're more than likely deficient in this, and if you are deficient in this, it's going to cause a lot of problems. And they kind of aim that at the demographic that is into eating healthy or eating vegan, right? Because because it's like they put a little bit of fear in you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you vegan, you know what I mean, you probably not as healthy as you think you are. You know what I'm saying?
And it's crazy that you mentioned that, because for some reason, when you say that you're going vegan, vegetarian, plant-based, whatever label, all of a sudden, everybody around you becomes a nutritionist or a dietitian or a personal trainer. So everybody now is knowledgeable when it comes to vitamins and minerals. So they concerned with, oh, you may not be getting enough calcium or protein, things like that. But then I could just turn it around and be like, all right, so are you getting the proper amount of zinc, vitamin C, the rest of the vitamin Bs, folate? I can start asking them questions like that, and they be looking at me like, man, what are you talking about?
Right.
You're getting the proper magnesium. And a lot of people don't be understanding the rest of the vitamins and minerals. They just ask me about like protein and things of that nature. You will have to literally starve yourself to become deficient in protein, no matter how you eat. It is so hard to lack. When was the last time you heard of somebody dying of protein deficiency?
Never, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. I never thought about it like that, but you know, that is definitely something that is out there, and that kind of leads into my next question. Like being vegan and weight training, you know that there is earlier, I'm gonna backtrack real quick. So earlier you said that you watched a documentary or just saw a slaughterhouse on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So you know how they have on Netflix a lot of documentaries on veganism, right? Then they also have a documentary, you know, on a pro meat documentary, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like it's like the two industries are obviously fighting each other. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's kind of important to, regardless if you are a vegan or if you are a meat eater, to take a lot of those documentaries with a grain of salt, because they seem like they all have an agenda to it. You know what I mean? But I was going to say one of the things on the pro meat side is, if you are a vegan and you are weight training, that it's hard to get enough protein in order to gain and keep muscle mass. So like, what's your thoughts on that?
That's hilarious. I just tell people, honestly, when it comes to that, I just tell people to look at me, follow my Instagram, because I'm showing improving. I don't even really have to debate about it verbally. I'm showing improving that that's a myth. Like, I literally haven't lost a step from eating meat to going vegan in regards to like the weight room. Haven't lost any size, haven't lost any mass. If anything, I've gained strength, and I know how to easily put the mass on. Man, I got a book called Proteinaholic. And it lets you know that we overly obsessed with protein. And then they tell you that more is not necessarily better. Actually, more protein is harming the kidneys. So that's why you see a lot of these bodybuilders, man, a lot of them end up with a lot of health problems because they overly consuming the protein. They overly obsessed with protein. We don't really need that much protein. And then we got protein pools within our body. So it's like we can actually recycle a lot of the protein that we consume. So we don't need to be eating a lot of protein on a daily basis. We actually don't need that much. So I'll be actually good. I'll be grooving.
God, I be seeing like some fitness cats on YouTube, and they'll show their daily routine, God, and I'm talking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They just piling on protein, piling on protein. And I'm like, man, the average person ain't gonna be able to do that.
And don't need to do it.
Right.
That's why I don't even drink any protein powders for that reason. It's harming the kidney. It's harming it, man. If you 100+ grams of protein a day, man, that is destroying your kidneys. Destroying your kidneys. I think I seen on average, I think it's like within 45 to 55 grams of protein that we need on average. That's for the average sedentary human. So of course, if you working out, you may need about 65, 75, 80 grams. Right. Man, that's so easy to get. But we tend to double that when we start lifting weight, or we say that we need to double that when we start lifting weights in bodybuilding. Right. But they say more is not better. That's actually causing more harm than good. A lot of people don't be knowing that.
So a lot of bodybuilder cats like end up having like issues with their kidneys, like kidney failure and shit like that, huh?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I could find a lot of them. I could find a lot of them that they didn't have kidney problems and things of that nature, man. Because for one, they overworking themselves, they lifting way too much too often, they ain't valuing rest days, and then they just overly consuming protein. Overly consuming protein. So
that's you kind of lead into something else I want to build on. So people that might be new to working out, and they get kind of gung-ho and because it feels good mentally, like whenever you work out, like you get that that dopamine, and you start feeling good in the mind. But how important and like why is it important to make sure that you have enough rest days and that you're actually getting good sleep at night?
Man, God, it's like you touching on stuff that I was just talking about with clients, and I was just building on the importance of this, because that's the mistake that a lot of beginners make. A lot of beginners, because we in the microwave generation, so everybody want results quick, fast. So they think, all right, I ain't never been working out before, so if I go to the gym 7 days a week, that should expedite my results. Right. I got to tell those people, slow down. I said, when you working out, that's when you actually destroying the body. That's not when you achieving your results and your gains. You are achieving the results and the gains when you rest. So rest is a little bit more important than actually working out. Right. So that's why I try to tell people, you got to balance it out, because you actually achieving your results and gains when you sleep, get the proper amount of sleep, and you resting. Right. You destroying the muscle, you damaging the muscle, you stressing the muscle out when you lifting. So I gotta stress that a lot to beginners, man. Slow down. You don't need to be in here 5 days. I don't even work out 5 days a week. Right. I don't even do that. Wow. Yeah, so I mean, go hard 5 days. I go hard 3 days.
Right. Really?
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Yeah, wow. That's it. So on those rest days, are you like whenever, because people work out for different reasons. Obviously, some to lose weight, some to gain muscle mass, some to get toned, lean. There's a lot of different things. But let's say you are striving to gain muscle, or you're getting toned, right? On those rest days, what is your diet like? Are you consuming protein like you would whenever you are on your workout days? What's your diet like on the off day?
And see, the thing with diet, I just tell everybody, keep it simple, make it a lifestyle. So I'm pretty much eating the same. And my diet don't really consist of a lot of protein. I'm carb based, so I'm consuming a lot of carbs. They didn't study the blue zones. They didn't study the healthiest populations on the planet, the people that live 100 and beyond. All of their diets carb based. I'm talking about 75, 80%, 65% carb based. You're not gonna find a long-lived population where it revolves around protein. I'm pressed to find that. So I keep everything carb based. I'm eating my fruits, I'm eating my veggies, I'm eating my I try to kind of stay away from the grains, so I'm doing like quinoa, stuff like that. I don't really try to do too much rice and things of that nature. And then I'm rocking like that. So I'm not really consuming a lot of protein intentionally. I get my protein kind of like indirectly via the other foods, the plant-based foods that I consume. So I'm not going out of my way to make sure I'm consuming a lot of protein. Right. But I get it from all the other foods that I consume though.
What are some of the dangers with the grains? Like what made you kind of limit the grains?
Yeah, now the brown rice, arsenic. It's a lot of arsenic in in the brown rice, and that just can cause a lot of issues internally with you. That's a toxin, I should say. The white rice, we already know the sugar in the white rice. So that's leading you to diabetes and all that type of other stuff, man. So that's why I'm staying away from like the rice. So I try to just do quinoa, or I do the cauliflower rice.
Right.
The brown rice got that arsenic in it, and I try to stay away from that.
What about bread?
The bread, see, now with the bread, depends on, like you said, depends on your goal and objective. So if you striving to like bulk up, put on a few pounds, and you're trying to do it in a healthy manner, try to put the muscle mass on, then bread can be cool. The whole like Ezekiel bread, things of that nature, like the sprouted bread and all of that can be cool. Now, if you're striving to lose weight, then you may want to limit or stay away from the bread, because we tend to overdo the bread. So if you're striving to lose weight, then I wouldn't recommend the bread. I'd say kind of stay away from that bread. But like the Ezekiel bread is cool.
Have you seen any of those? I think it's kind of a new thing, bro, but I've seen a few people that are promoting like these like all meat diets. You know what I'm saying? Like have you seen any of that, God?
Man, well, I don't know if I've seen all meat. I've been getting hit a lot with the keto, but I don't know if I've seen an all meat yet.
What are your thoughts on the keto diet?
I can't stand it.
Why is that?
It's unhealthy. Like it's not sustainable. And the thing of it is, I can put you on any diet. Any diet gonna work. Like every diet essentially is gonna work if it results in you cutting something out of your life. So like if I tell you to stop eating pork, you gonna lose weight just off of that. If you are a pork eater, like if you just notoriously known for eating pork, and I tell you stop eating the pork, you're gonna lose 5 to 10 pounds off the rip of that. So any diet essentially is gonna work. So when people come to me and tell me, man, I was on the keto and I lost 20, 30 pounds, I said that's to be expected. But the keto diet is not sustainable long term. Your body naturally, it needs carbs. It needs the carbs for fuel. So you depriving your body of the natural fuel source. So when you add them carbs back in your life, you're gonna put the weight back on, which is why I say it's not sustainable long term, because you're depriving yourself of the natural fuel source of the body. And then, man, I had a client, God, now I can't even make this up. I was telling her or suggesting that she eat fruits for like, a snack or something like that, or maybe lunch. She was like, no, I can't do that because I'm on a keto diet. This is what she told me that she could have. She could either have cheese sticks, basically just cheese by itself, or she can have a burger without the bread, so just a patty.
Wow. But
I'm
no
like,
fruit.
so that's healthier than the fruits. So they got the world fearing fruits.
Wow.
But eat cheese sticks.
God, that's funny you said that, God, on everything. I was a cat I worked with, I believe, was like he's on I don't know if he's like starting to try to eat healthy or whatever, but I heard him talking about and I didn't know people even thought like this about him not wanting to eat too much fruit because of so much sugar. But the glucose that you get from the sugar, that's not bad. I mean, from the fruit, that's not bad glucose, right?
Not bad. All right, God, just like I asked you, how many people have died from a protein deficiency?
I've never heard nobody dying from fruit.
Yeah, from overdosing on fruit. I've never seen somebody say, "Listen, I got diabetes because I ate too many bananas." All right, I never heard it, never in my life. I don't. That is crazy, man. People straight afraid of fruits. Every time
do you think a lot of this
following it, they be like, "Nah, I can't eat that fruit. It's too much sugar." Too much sugar.
Yeah, I'd never heard that, God. I was going to ask you, where do you think a lot of this misinformation about like what's healthy and what's not is actually coming from?
And that's the crazy thing you mentioned that. And I tell people that's part of the reason why people like me exist, because I tell people all the time, if you got a fitness goal, if you try to achieve this goal by doing your own research and it's not your line of work, meaning you obligated to some other stuff 8 to 10 hours out the day that's unrelated to like health and fitness, you're gonna be lost. Because there's so much misinformation out here. And we know why a lot of it is out here, because they being paid. So they being paid to misinform. You got the meat, the dairy, and the egg industry. Them some powerful industries, God. So they got a lot of money backing like this misinformation. So most of this misinformation that you see is because these industries out here paying for the people to be misinformed. I got a couple books that talk about that. Like I got a book, I think it was like in 1977. I think I'm gonna like paraphrase it. I ain't gonna quote it directly, but it was like a little committee that got together and they was about to like warn the public of the dangers of consuming meat. But the meat, dairy, and egg industry was like, nah, they ended up getting disbanding that committee. Wow. And those industries admitted to saying that there really is no benefit in consuming the animal products, but they got to put this information out here because they basically making the money off of the people being unhealthy, being sick, and things of that nature.
Right.
So the committee was about to come together and encourage the people to eat plant-based, and they was like, nah, got to get rid of that.
Wow. Wow. Yep. You know what, God, and that's kind of reminds me of even in the 70s and 80s, they had committees that were paid to tell you that smoking cigarettes was healthy.
Yeah, exactly. And they brought that up. Exactly. You know?
Damn. So that kind of brings another thought into mind. Why is it that most, I'm not going to say all, because I'm pretty sure that there's a lot, right? But why is it, especially in our community, right? We'll go to the doctor and they'd rather prescribe us medication, but not talk to us about health, diet, and exercise.
And you know what's crazy? It's crazy that you, again, I'm telling you, it's like we in tune here.
Oh, yeah, we are, God, mind, take mine.
Man, I was talking about a lot of this stuff, man. So it's right on time here, right on the money. But a few books that I got that was written by some doctors that basically came into the knowledge of their industry, the truth about their industry, the wickedness, and all of that. And one thing they said that they were not required to know much about nutrition. They were trained to basically spot a symptom and then diagnose that symptom and then give you like some medication for that particular ailment or whatever it is. So if you got that headache, they're going to point out that headache and they're going to give you the Advil for the headache. That's the way that they are trained. They were not trained or required to learn anything about nutrition. Dude said he took like one course on nutrition. Wow. And that was all that was required from him.
Wow.
So that's the reason why they
simply don't even know.
Yeah, they lack the knowledge themselves. So at some point I realized that and I actually stopped blaming the doctor. Then I started saying, all right, now it's up to us. We got to stop believing. We got to stop trusting these doctors. We make it look like the doctor's supposed to know everything. Yeah. No, the doctor don't know. The doctor only know what to give you for that headache, but what to give you for that pain. That's all the doctor really is trained to know. If you find a doctor that know other than that, that's because they did their own research.
Right.
And that's it.
Wow. And a lot of times they only going to do what's going to keep getting them paid. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because they gonna like if they got licenses and things like that, they gonna threaten them if they start trying to do things another way. Yeah. I got plenty of books that's talking about that. Dudes was losing their licenses out here, like they couldn't practice.
For promoting healthy eating.
Yep, holistic health. Yep, they was getting. The dudes had to go overseas.
Wow.
Yeah, dudes had to go overseas. I got a book about a doctor that cured AIDS. Now people talk about Dr. Sebi. Now we know he did it. He got the documents out here saying he did it. I got a whole book. Rogers, what is it? It's like Rogers Fight with AIDS or something like that. I forgot the actual name of the book. I read it so long ago. But man, dude cured my man's AIDS, and he was like, once they found out what he was doing, they was threatening him, and they tried to take his license, so he had to go overseas to continue practicing.
Wow. You know, that kind of makes me think too, like with, you know, a lot of we talk a lot about mental health in 2020 and 2021. It's kind of like, I mean, you know, people are starting to finally understand that it's not just your physical body that you got to take care of, right? Got to take care of your mind too. But how much of what you eat and lack of exercise is actually affecting your mental health? You know, I see a lot of people that say they're depressed, but you look at what they're eating, they not having any type of, you know, physical activity going on. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you are, and I know a lot of psychiatrists or whatever, they, like you said, they probably not studied in that, but there's so much information now that shows the link between the two. I mean, you would think that that would be something that is promoted to help you get in good mental health.
Man, God, and I talk about this all the time. People sleep on. When I was watching that slaughterhouse documentary, one thing that I took away from it was trauma. Man, those animals went through a lot of trauma before they were like slaughtered. Man, they were fed unnatural diets. They was packed in this unclean space. Right. So it was trauma. So I'm like, all right, boom, we consuming that trauma. So that's resulting in a lot of this depression, a lot of this anger, a lot of this frustration, because they say you are what you eat. We consuming that death, but before the death, they was traumatized.
Right.
They were depressed. They were separated from their mother and things of that nature. They were fed that unnatural diet, so they was sick. A lot of the animals were sick before they were killed and given to you on that plate. So you consuming all of that. You consuming that trauma. You consuming that depression. You consuming that anger, that frustration that the animal was feeling. Because these animals, they didn't did the knowledge to these animals, man. These animals have feelings. They can think and things of that nature.
Yeah, so I read a book last year. I read a book last year that was kind of dealing in, you know, they were looking at animal emotions, and they came to find out, like, I mean, you know, we kind of anthropomorphize everything and make it like a human, right? But they feel something, and they not just these clueless animals that don't have a clue about anything. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And we consuming that. That's being transferred right into us. And all you got to do is look at society. Look how angry, look how traumatized we are, and look at what we consuming on a daily basis.
Wow.
That shows and proves it right there. So I don't even really have to pull out no information. All you got to do is analyze society. Is the majority of society eating plant-based? No.
Right. You know, and it's crazy because like in certain neighborhoods where you know, original people are, you can't even find a restaurant or a grocery store close by to you know, begin to you know, start that journey. You know, it seems like in certain demographics they make it harder in order to, you know, start eating healthy. I don't want to necessarily you know, not dealing in any excuses, right? But the reality a lot of times is they make it hard for our people to even start that journey to start eating healthy because they don't even have anything close by, you know, and they spend billions of dollars. I saw a stat the other day, and I mean, I probably had an idea, but I didn't know, but they spend billions of dollars directly, like on advertisements that are directly or directed at Black people and Black teens. Sugary drinks, donuts, McDonald's, like all of that stuff, right? Like it's just like directed to us, God. And it's crazy, man. The youth is getting bombarded, and adults getting bombarded with these images, and they started getting these chemical depressions for unhealthy food. You know,
you gonna get me venting because one of my degrees is in marketing. So I got hip to all of this stuff in college in regards to what they was doing. So they knew that if they got the babies hooked, then the parents would have to follow suit. Because if your baby wanted McDonald's, guess what we finna do?
We finna
gotta go to McDonald's as a family. So if I get the babies craving the McDonald's and the babies crying for the McDonald's, then I got the whole family.
Right. And they got the playground. They got the playground in the McDonald's. Like, come on, what's that about? We already know.
Exactly. Right. And they doing that intentionally. I learned that in marketing 101. We gonna get the babies hooked, so then the parents gonna have to follow suit.
Right.
Parents gonna have to follow suit. And then on what you were saying before that, when I was working at the bank, man, I was dealing with this business owner. Dude was like a caterer. He let me know off the rip. Now, this is something that I already knew, but him saying it just made me think about it. Like he was like, in the Black neighborhoods, he was like, not only do we not have like those options, but even the quality of the food is terrible. So even the healthy foods in the Black neighborhoods, the quality is a lot lower.
Wow.
So you got your organic fruits and you got your fruits and veggies in the Black neighborhood. They are of a lesser quality than if you go to that white neighborhood.
Wow.
So that's crazy. So even when we think we doing what's right and exact by shopping in our own neighborhood, we still getting the lowest quality of food.
Wow.
And that's what he told me that off the rip. And this is what he do. He know food. So he was like, man, I don't even go to these stores in the Black neighborhoods because I need good quality food. So I go to where the white folks at because they got better quality food.
Right. And so God, and that's the thing, like, man, that's deep, because, you know, it's easy to, when we start talking about, you know, racism and white supremacy, you know, it's easy to point out the cases of individual racism where, you know, somebody does something, let's say, you know, spray paint nigga on somebody's house, right? Like that's the individual racism that we all see that society tends to frown up upon. But the institutional shit like that, like, it seems like there's nobody that says anything about it because the institution is not going to check itself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, when you start speaking, what I've learned, you'd have been friends with me on Facebook for a minute.
Yeah.
What I've learned is every time I start speaking about institutional racism, a lot of things get said. They start calling me racist. That's that reverse racism.
Yeah.
And then they start blaming me for keeping racism alive because I'm speaking about institutional racism.
Right.
And I'm like, come on.
Yeah, God, it's
Come on.
crazy. It's crazy. Like you call out racism, right? And then you become the racist for calling out racism.
Yep, all the time, never fails, man. I could go do it right now. Somebody gonna inbox me and say, man, that's racist. And the crazy part is, it don't be coming from the colored folks. It comes from the our people.
Right.
They be calling me racist. I get called racist by my people more so than anybody else. These color, I didn't have conversations with colored folks, and they be admitting to some of the stuff that I be saying being true.
Oh yeah, because they know
it.
Yeah. They know it, God. I kind of want to jump back on the health and fitness side. And so when it comes to losing weight, right? Because that's a big thing. There's a lot of people who aren't happy with their weight, and they want to do something about it, but they like you said, work 8 to 10 hours, they have children or families. And we're just in a system to where like we're really busy people. You know what I mean? What makes losing weight like for people like in their 30s and 40s like so challenging? You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are struggling with it. I mean, is it a mental thing? Is it the drive? Like what do you think? What do you think it makes it so challenging for a lot of people?
See, God, at first, I used to be of the impression that it was solely a mental thing. Now, that does play an important role in losing the weight. But I felt like that was just ignorant on my end because I've never been in a situation where I actually had to lose an enormous amount of weight. It's a lot of factors in play. For one, like the stuff that they putting into the food, it's an addiction.
Right.
Just like we talk about a crackhead, man, you addicted to that cheese, you addicted to that meat, you addicted to that artificial sugar, you addicted to it. So literally, when it comes time to lose weight, you got to break addictions, and that's hard. That's hard for anybody. That's hard. If cheese was your thing right now, and I said, all right, the thing that's holding you back is this cheese. Like you ain't gonna be able to stop eating that cheese overnight.
Right.
You're gonna go through withdrawal symptoms, and they not gonna feel good, man. You're gonna relapse. You're gonna do all of that. So, man, it's a lot that you got to factor in when it comes to losing weight, and that's why I preach. Not preach. I don't like that word. Teach. That's why I teach patience when it comes to losing weight, because it took you a minute to get the weight on. So you got to be patient with yourself to lose that weight. But you got to break addictions, man. You got to form new habits, and that type of stuff is complicated. That type of stuff is complicated. It's part mental, but then it's part just analyzing like your daily routine, things that you kind of do unconsciously and you're not even thinking about. You got to break those habits. You got to break stuff like that. So it's a lot of different factors.
So can somebody actually get withdrawal symptoms like they were quitting a drug whenever they start to quit, processed sugar and all of that type of shit?
I ain't even gonna lie. When I made my transition, I was sick. Man, I was sick for like almost a month.
Wow. Because
when your body cleansing itself, man, you releasing all the toxins. So you're going to feel horrible. That's why I tell people when they fast, I'm a big proponent and big advocate of fasting. When you start fasting, I tell everybody, listen, you're going to feel terrible. Maybe the first 3 days, depending on how long you're doing it. So I say you may feel terrible. You may feel weak. You may feel fatigued, like you finna just faint, die. But that's not what's about to happen. Those are the toxins leaving the body. So true indeed, you definitely going to have a lot of withdrawal symptoms depending on what it is that you're giving up. So like if you was eating cheese every day and you trying to get yourself off of the cheese and you go cold turkey, you're going to experience some negative symptoms. That's why a lot of people go back to the cheese, go back to the meat, because they feel like the reason why they feeling weak is because they let go of the cheese and meat. So that's the trick. That's the trick. Your mind playing trick on you. Yeah. That's why I say it's a dangerous game. That's why a lot of people fold. A lot of people be like, oh, I tried to go vegan. It ain't work. Because they went vegan for like a week or two, maybe a month, and they was experiencing those withdrawal symptoms that are normal. But you got to go through that. You got to, like we say, you got to destroy in order to build.
Right. Indeed. Yeah. And so, wow. Okay, God. Yeah, that's damn. That's deep, God. And like just makes me think, like, let's say processed sugar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people that are striving to get healthy, but like you said, they haven't, they don't necessarily have a degree or any just like, long, they haven't been studying health and nutrition for a while.
Yeah.
They start looking at the label.
Mm-hmm.
They hiding the sugar. It's like 50 different names for sugar.
Yeah, man, listen.
They hiding it, God.
You about again. Here we go. All right, it's a few different things in regards to the criteria that they tell people to look for.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like if they got more than 4 ingredients on that joint, stay away from it.
Wow.
If you got some names on that joint that you can't pronounce, stay away from it.
Right.
Some people say if it's packaged, stay away from it. And that's pretty much what I'm aiming for. I'm actually aiming to go about 89% raw. That's going to be my next move because, man, like you said, it's a lot of hidden sugar and a lot. Even when people be drinking those fruit drinks, like those little store-bought smoothies, man, they lace them joints with all type of sugar.
Right.
And people be like, "Oh, I'm drinking a smoothie." I tell them, look at the back, look at the added sugar. That's what you need to pay attention to, the added sugar.
Right.
And that joint be crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's kind of ill that you said that, because at one time I had a spot that I was going to that it was a smoothie spot, right? And I had to, and eventually though, I was like, man, these joints is kind of sweet, man. You know what I'm saying? I look at but you're right though, they laced with sugar, man. They laced with sugar, and it really ain't no different between some of these store-bought smoothies and a cup of coffee, man, like with a whole bunch of sugar in.
Man, you ain't never lied. And that's one thing they doing too. See, we gotta realize the agenda out here. So this is what's happening now. They starting to play on the whole plant-based movement. So what do I mean by that? You got a lot of things out here labeled plant-based and vegan, non-GMO, that ain't necessarily healthy. So they trying to capitalize off of the plant-based movement, because it is a movement now with the whole virus out here. People trying to watch what they eat a little bit. Right. So when people see things like natural, organic, plant-based, non-GMO, they think they doing something. Look at the back of that joint. They got all type of bad ingredients on there, but they using those labels to make money off people once again. So we got to be mindful of that too.
How are they allowed to use these labels if it's not true? Because I see one trick that they're doing. Those same labels, it'll be green. It'll be a green label, and so psychologically, you think you picking up something. Oh, this is the healthy chicken right here. But it's probably the same chicken that's in the other package. Yeah,
and like I said, go back to that money. With a little bit of money, you can hide anything.
Right.
You can hide anything. You can hide anything. And a lot of people think that simply because something is non-GMO don't necessarily make it healthy. Man, you can find some different type of ingredients, mesh them together, and then make it like unhealthy.
Right.
You can bind certain fruits and vegetables. You have made it toxic now. So a lot of people don't know that. Now, the fruits and vegetables independently are not bad, but when you combine a lot of them, that's defeating the purpose.
Right.
So a lot of people don't understand that. Like with combinations, you combine certain elements, they become destructive.
Yeah.
But by themselves, isolated, they beneficial for you. So they doing things like that, man, and they use the term science and all of that, man. So they done took the word science and all that, and they running with it.
Right. Oh yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of us aren't privy to that science. So even striving to do better, bad decisions get made, and you don't see the results that you want to see.
Yeah, and that becomes depressing for a lot of people. That again, that's why I say that's why people like myself exist, because it's like a lot of people be thinking they doing something. They may get something and they be like it's fat free, and then I got to drop the jewel on them. I'm like, man, fat free don't necessarily mean healthy.
Right.
So that's why it's the duty of people like myself, man, that come across this information to keep spreading it, because it's a lot, like all trainers ain't created equally. It's a lot of trainers most trainers gonna tell you to do other than what I'm telling you. They gonna tell you to eat the meat. They gonna tell you that you need the protein, this, that, and the third.
Right.
Even some dietitians and nutritionists, they gonna tell you to do the total opposite of what I'm saying. So it's only a select few, as we say, it's only 5% within this industry that's gonna actually tell you, hey, you don't need to be eating all that type of nonsense.
Right.
But meanwhile, it's going to be a whole 10% within the same industry telling you to eat all the bad stuff.
Right. And the people that follow them going to be easily led in the wrong direction.
Exactly. And that be part of the problem that I face. So me being a trainer, it's like I'm going up against a person that got a nutritionist and a doctor. And that nutritionist and the doctor telling them to eat one way, and they feel like the nutritionist and the doctor, they feel like they more prestigious than the trainer. Right. So I'm up against a doctor and a nutritionist, and I'm losing. So it's like, we got a lot of work to do in regards to just like changing our eating habits.
and you were building on before the fact that a lot of these doctors, they might be telling them this, but they're not studied in diet and nutrition. So that makes it even worse.
Yep. And you know what's crazy? I forgot to say the doctor that suggested that my client eat the cheese sticks and then the pattyless burger. He was overweight and obese.
Wow.
I'm like, see what I'm saying?
Right.
Not to even talk bad about it, but it's like, why are you giving me this advice? You ain't even taking care of yourself.
Right. That's crazy, dog. Yeah. So it's like, all right, so people that are trying to lose weight, right? Or not even just people that are losing weight. All right. People that have a health and fitness goal, whether it's to lose weight, to gain weight, gain muscle. How is it important to keep track of like your calorie intake?
Oh, I don't even keep track of it. When you eat clean, when you eat plant-based, plant-based is the correct term, because that make, like vegan, like I said, there's a lot of things that's labeled vegan that ain't necessarily healthy. You could be a junk food vegan, but when you eat plant-based, when you eating your fruits and your veggies, man, you can go hard on those. You ain't really gotta count your calories. So I have never counted calories.
Wow.
I have never been overweight, obese, and I eat a lot.
Right.
I go in, but I eat, the calorie dense foods. So the foods that I eat, I would have to eat a lot of those foods for me to like become obese and overweight.
Right. Wow. That's very interesting, God, because that the other side of the industry tells you that it's imperative and it's a must to count your calories in order to lose weight or gain muscle. Like they have these whole workout plans that are pretty much based on calorie intake. Like have you seen those?
Oh, I've seen a lot of people come to me asking me about counting calories and a lot of that type of stuff. Like I said, they being paid, they making money off of that nonsense. You do not have to count calories, especially when you eating clean, when you eating the way that you're supposed to be eating. That's the last thing you need to do is be counting calories. For one, that adds another level of stress. Right.
It does.
And that's very unhealthy. You worrying about trying to consume 2,500 calories, man. You stressing yourself out. And you finna start eating a lot of foods that's like really unnecessary trying to reach that caloric goal.
Right.
Yeah, wow, so I'm gonna concern myself with it.
So nowadays, with everything being about $1, everybody trying to make a buck. We see a lot of products on the market, and a lot of them are specifically marketed to women, where it's like a weight loss powder or a weight loss pill. Like, have you had any clients that were taking them before, and like, what are your thoughts on those kind of things?
Man, listen, to all my women out here, they are making money off of women. Waist trainers, I mean, anything you name. They selling it to women out here, man. They are preying on the women. They making a lot of money off of women when it comes to the fitness industry. And I done had a few of them on some of those pills, and the side effects for those pills be terrible, like insomnia, depression, suicidal thoughts, little things like that actually be the side effects of some of these pills out here. So it's like, why would you be on that? I don't recommend any of that type of nonsense, man. I try to get my clients off of those pills instantly.
Right.
Those pills are destructive.
What are those pills actually doing for them to say that it can help you, like, lose weight or burn fat?
It suppresses the appetite for the most part. So you eating less, essentially, which is actually counterproductive to reduce your calories. A lot of people don't understand that too, but that's for the most part what they supposed to do. Suppress the appetite. Can you build
on that real quick as far as why in a lot of cases it's counterproductive to starve yourself? Because you see a lot of people that are that they feel like, okay, I have a weight loss goal, so I'm just not going to eat. You know what I mean? Like, that's a real thing. Like, why is that counterproductive?
Yeah, and here it go. And a lot of people don't understand it. So even back to the calorie counting, I don't count calories, but I can use this for this example. So let's just say you was counting your calories, and let's say you was at 2,000 calories a day was your norm. That's what you normally was consuming. And let's say, all right, I'm trying to lose weight, and you cut it in half and say, all right, I'm finna eat 1,000 calories a day. This is exactly what's about to happen. So you cut it in half, you got to 1,000. Guess what? You're going to lose about 10, 15 pounds. Boom, because you cut the calories and you probably started exercising, moving more. Now, the body is all wise and intelligent, all wise and exact. It's going to adapt and adjust to the reduction in calories. So a lot of people that reduce the calorie, guess what? They start getting cold because you got to reduce the body heat because now your body is adapting and adjusting to burning less.
Right.
So when your body adapts and adjusts to the reduction in calories, then you're going to hit that wall. Then you're going to start either putting that weight back on or you're going to stay exactly where you at. So it's actually better. It's better to actually fast for like 24 hours opposed to doing like 1 meal a day. So it's actually better to go just full water, no food, opposed to less meals.
Right.
So if you need to lose weight, it's better to go no meals, all water, opposed to like, I'm just going to eat 1 meal a day. Right. That's going to work up to a certain point. Then you're going to end up hitting that wall. So it's best to actually fast 24 hours with water.
So, all right. So you said you fast a lot. Is it like an intermittent fast, or like how often do you fast? And usually, like how long is the fast?
Yeah, for the most part, when I do it, I try to go 24 hours. But I got different goals too, though. For the most part, I be trying to bulk up, put on more muscle. So if I
how does fasting help? How does fasting help? Put on muscle?
I'm glad you asked that. One of the benefits of fasting, a lot of people don't know that it actually preserves your lean muscle mass. So it actually makes you more lean. So if you looking like, if you bodybuilding or if you lifting like I lift and you trying to like be shredded, you know, that shredded Bruce Lee look,
right?
Fasting for 24-hour water fast will actually help you with that. It actually preserves the lean muscle mass.
Right.
So it actually helps with that. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people think if they fast 24 hours, they're going to
lose muscle.
No, it's going to preserve the muscle. So you're going to come away actually more shredded when you do it properly. Right. So that's one reason why I would fast. And secondly, if I do fast, I may do like smoothies or something like that, meaning I'm still getting some calories in, but I'm just getting them in a more healthier fashion.
Now, I'm pretty sure it's kind of second nature to you now to fast, but in the beginning, was it tough to be like, yo, man, you know, like when your mind starts telling you, hey, man, I'm hungry, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people, they may want an intermittent fast, but, you know, that those first initial fasts, you know, kind of set a tone to where, you know, the whole mind over matter thing, you know what I mean? To where like it gets a little bit better, like once you continue to do it, like, but did you in the beginning, you know, have like those thoughts like, yeah, man, this is kind of tough, I don't necessarily want to do it, or were you just like supremely focused on the goal and was able to do it without no problems?
Man, God, I ain't gonna lie. Now, when we was talking about stuff being mental, fasting is 1,000% mental for the most part. When I first started fasting, when I first started coming into all this information, a lot of it was trial and error. I ain't know nothing about intermittent fasting when I actually first started fasting. I was just reading about extended fast. So I was reading about the people that fast for 3 to 5 to 7 days and stuff like that. So my first time fasting, I was trying to go for like 3 days, just water. Man, that was rough. Every time I was fasting, I would do extended fast. So I fast 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. The more I did it, like you said, the easier it became. But in the beginning, man, it was rough. It was a struggle. All those withdrawal symptoms that I mentioned, I experienced them all.
Right. Now, do you do any running? Or, you know, like, you know, road work as a boxer would say, like, do you recommend that for, you know, people who are getting in shape as well?
Yeah, that now I hate the treadmill. When I run, man, for one, it's bad on the knees because it's just like you just on that same little surface, and that is essentially wearing down your knee. So when I run, I like to go outside with it. For one, getting that vitamin D, you activating that vitamin D. We need that sunlight, and it's just better. It's just better on my knees when I run outside. So I would prefer to run outside. Other than that, I'm jumping rope. I'm doing like HIIT interval training and things of that nature because, like I said, I'm not really too fond of the treadmill. So if I can't get outside, I'm doing circuit training and I'm jumping rope for my cardio. But cardio is definitely important. The heart is a muscle. When you lose it and it becomes weak. And again, we know heart disease. I think COVID then surpassed it, but that's been the number 1 killer for people for how long? I can't even remember. So you gotta work, exercise that heart.
What is HIIT as far as interval training? Like what's the science behind that?
Oh yeah, that's basically just high intensity training. So it's just like, let's say I'm gonna do 5 or 6 exercises. It can either be body weight or it can involve weights, however you want to get down. You would do these exercises back to back to back to back with no rest in between, either for a set amount of time or for a certain amount of reps. Then you rest after the circuit is complete. Then it's a lot of different ways that people tweak it. It's something called like Tabata, where you would do an exercise 20 seconds, rest 10 seconds, and complete that. I mean, continue that up until about 4 minutes. It's like little things like that, man. So it's real intense. So it's basically like a short workout, but it's intense. A lot of movement, a lot of motion.
Okay.
No rest, little rest.
With it being short and with it being short workouts, but real intense, what is that doing for your body and how is that helping you?
Oh man, that's giving that cardio effect. That cardio effect opposed to like the steady state. And then it's also helping you burn more calories while you are resting. And that's another reason why I don't like the treadmill. The treadmill, you only burning the calories while you are running on the treadmill. As soon as you get off, you done burning. When you do high intensity interval training or when you lift weights and do strength training, you burning when you resting, when you're sleeping. So when you get off that treadmill,
I don't think a lot of people know that, God.
Exactly. Yeah, they don't. So that's why you see a lot of people, they take pictures of the treadmill number, say I burn 500 calories. Guess what? That's all you finna burn.
Right.
When I lift, I may have burned 300 during that workout, but I'm still burning throughout the day. So a lot of people.
So what is it? So how does that how does that work? You know what I mean? Like to whenever you're done working out, but your body is still burning calories. You know what I mean?
Because of the stress that you placed upon the muscle, you damage that muscle. So it's got to put in the work to kind of repair the damage.
Right.
And that's exactly why you continuing to burn those calories, because you put your body through something that was intense and it wasn't ready for it. So now it's got to repair the damage.
Right. Wow.
And that's why your body burning. That's the science behind that.
Yeah, no doubt, God. So I know you gonna switch gears for a minute, God. I know you're an author as well, God. If you can build about like what is inspired you to, pick up the pen and started writing, and also tell me about the books that you wrote, you know what I mean, for anybody that is interested, because you're definitely a powerful brother, man, with great insight, you know what I mean? What inspired you to pick that pen up?
Well, I always was into music, so I was always rapping and things of that. And I was rapping all the way back in like 5th grade. So I had always been like a rapper, been into poetry and things like that. So I always was into writing. What inspired me to get into writing the books, it was basically the people. As the Black Panthers say, power to the people. It was all power in the people at that point, man. I was getting on Facebook just expressing my sentiments. Like my thoughts, all the books that I was reading, man. So I just expressed my thoughts, and a lot of people started liking what I was posting. And a lot of people started suggesting, like, hey, man, you need to take all this and write a book. And this was like maybe 2009, 2010. And I wrote my first book like 5 years after that fact. So I was procrastinating, man. But people have been telling me that I should do that. And I always wanted to do it, but I just didn't know how to go about it. So I started doing the knowledge to it, and I realized that it was actually quite simple to like self-publish a book. And once I got those jewels, man, I just ran with it. And I got about 3 books that's out.
Wow.
Yeah, I got 3 books. Inner Mass, that revolves around this whole, I call it the plandemic, but that's a whole nother topic here. But that's basically how to keep your immune system healthy during this particular situation. That's what that book is about. That's on Amazon. Then another book, Energy, that's more like a self-help book. Then the first book was like Living While Black in America. Yeah. That title speaks for itself.
Right. Yeah, that's peace, God. I think that's inspiring because like you said, 5 years later, you started writing, but to a lot of times people, man, they have these great things inside them, right? But they don't follow through with it. You know what I mean? And be able to follow through and give it to the people, and the people benefit from it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the powerful thing, because you never know who's reading that, what kind of thoughts you're inspiring with them. And what they'll go on to do with the knowledge that you gave them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like that's part of my duty, man, to teach those that don't know.
Right. Word is bond, God. That is the duty. And I just wanted to tell you, God, I definitely appreciate you for coming on the show. It was a powerful bill. I definitely want to have you come back, you know what I mean? And because there's a lot to, you know, there's the world's always changing, science is always being updated, you know what I mean? And you're definitely on point, God. So I just want to tell you, I appreciate you for coming through. For everybody that is just now being introduced to you, how can they find your books? How can they find you on social media and promote your business as far as you being a fitness trainer?
Oh, no doubt. Man, you can find me a lot of different ways on Instagram, Almighty Vegan. Or you could just type in the government name, Eric Bell. You know, Facebook forced me to use my government name, so I got to use the government name on a lot of platforms now. You know how that go.
Yeah.
So you could type in Eric Bell and find me on Facebook and Instagram. Then when you find me on Instagram, it's Almighty Vegan. Even on YouTube, it's Eric Bell. So you should be able to find me on YouTube. As far as like my business and what I'm doing there, I'm working on offering virtual training courses. So that's going to be coming in the future. And I got a website. It's called almighttyfitnation.com. I'm working on the, you know, some little kinks on it, but I still got it up for the most part for the people to see. And I got like let me see if I got the powder. I got like an immune boosting powder right here. I don't know if you can see it. But yeah, this is a powder that helps with the immune system. And that's on the website along with the books. And I got like hoodies and tank tops and stuff like that. So the movement is real. So you can go on almighttyfitnation.com. That's the website, and find the immune boosting powder. And you can find the gear. My book, Inner Mask, that's on Amazon. My other books, you would have to hit me up personally because I took them down from Amazon. But that Inner Mask, all you got to do is type in Eric Bell, Inner Mask, book, and then you should be able to find it. It's only $5.99.
Already, God. Well, like I said, man, I appreciate you, God. I definitely want to have you back on, you know, continue to build. The build never ends, you know what I mean?
Hey, never ends. Build is build, as they say.
No doubt, God. Peace to the God.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on, God.
No doubt.
All right, peace, God.
Peace.
Yes, sir.